identifying who's good at what is maybe one of the most important things of leadership in an organization, because you can have the right people in the wrong seats, or you can have the wrong people in the wrong seats, or you can have the wrong people in the right seats.
Right.
You know, it's just kind of how are we utilizing and maximizing our efforts?
Thank you for joining us on the Evolve Your Brand podcast. I am your host, Oli Emerkees. Just want to give a huge shout out to Icon Industries, Shane, Steven, Shane, Antoine. Shane, don't ever do that again. No more Shanes, okay? We've reached a threshold of Shanes. There's 3. Thanks for all they do. We are so excited. We have the one and only Danny Forster, owner at A Better Home Inspection. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me. Just real quick though, with having 3 Shanes, you don't have to remember 3 names. You can just remember 1.
Really? When you say Shane, all 3 look. It's
so
just weird.
Now you have more attention.
I know, but then I'm distracting them from doing the editing, which we really can't. I love it. No, would you hire 3 Dannys in your company?
No, there's only 1 in mine.
Ooh, see? But you're okay with Shane having 3.
Well, yeah, that's his business. No, I would not hire someone if they were named Danny. But they might have to go through a little bit more of the process, and we might have to change their name.
Name adjustment.
Yeah, I mean,
rebranding of their name.
You know, instead of Danny, then maybe Daniel or Dan or last name or...
So I meant to ask you this. I've seen a lot of companies, they have mascots. What is your Better Home Inspection? What do you guys, what's your...
Oh, we have fallen in love with our mascot.
What is your mascot?
In everything you see about us. Well, I don't know if you've noticed my shirt here, but we got a couple little avocados.
Oh.
Yeah, we got our friends over here that are hanging out with us.
The trifecta? Those are hot.
Yeah, we got some of those. So
right. I think when we talk about the sock game, I got Ghostbusters.
Look at those. Yep,
Ghostbusters. I mean, Danny, you're not going to put that in the air. Come on, man. Come on, let's go. Okay, there we go. We're back. He's got strong sock game. I just want you all to know that.
So it's the avocado, short answer. Brand awareness, branding, our logo, our everything, I guess, would be revolved around these avocados.
And who would have known that who came up with the avocado? It was your grandfather?
Yeah. It just kind of stumbled upon us many, many years ago, and my grandfather started the whole avocado thing.
Who would have known he's a brand and marketing genius?
Well, I could have told you that, but not. It's amazing that it just kind of stumbled upon what it has evolved to.
Right.
Because it was just a gift that we gave out to our clients as a little thank you.
Danny, it has nothing to do with home inspections, bro.
No, it never did. Why? Why does it need to have something to do with home inspections?
I don't know.
We're trying to gift something nice to our clients, whether we do home inspections or anything else. The idea is here's a reward or a thank you for working with us.
And they're so good.
Absolutely. And they're good for you.
And they're good for you.
Yeah. It's the good fat, I say.
You know what's funny is I'm sitting here. We had a guest on earlier and she... Please, can you recap that conversation with what she said with the avocado? It was badass.
Yeah, I will do my best.
Do your best.
So the analogy I would say was she was leaving the home inspection. She was a recipient of one of our gifts. We still give out the avocados at the end of our inspections. And she was making the comparison, and jump in and throw your take on it where you need to. The comparison of getting a home inspection because the inside of the home may not be desirable or good. So you have to hire and work with quality people that can ensure that the inside of your home, so not just looking from the outside, but the inside is actually what it should be and is good quality. So she made the comparison from us doing home inspections to great quality to make sure that the inside of your home is good to the avocado, because we give out really good avocados.
What an incredible brand advocacy.
Yeah, I was like,
Like she literally thought about your brand.
yeah. Yeah.
Insane.
Not insane. I mean, by design.
I love it. It's strategy.
I mean, yeah, it's been years and years and years and years of effort, and it's something that sticks and people remember.
Yes.
I mean, we get calls 5 years down the line and saying, "Hey, we're buying another house, and were you the company that gave us the avocados at the end? Not were you the company that did a really great home inspection?" It's just like, well, we were both, but yeah, we were the company that gave you the avocados. Thanks for remembering us.
I think that's how come I'm a huge fan of you guys, because you do get the whole brand marketing and the people aspect of it. We were talking about, the 3 fundamentals that you need. How do you incorporate that into your company culture?
So the 3 fundamentals, basically how we kind of look at it, in my understanding, is people do business with people that they know, they like, and they trust.
Right.
Right. If you're not all of those things, they're not going to continue to do business with you. So the biggest thing for us at our company is we incorporate the entire company. And all of our team members have input. We have weekly meetings. We have leadership meetings. We ask for input. We really want to hear what is happening on all aspects, on all fronts of our company. Because if I don't allow, say, the frontline inspectors to bring feedback to me or our leadership team that's making decisions, we may be missing something. We may just come up with this really cool idea, but it doesn't plug in in our flow. So I think that's the biggest thing, is really incorporating the entire team into what we want out of our customer experience.
How come it's important for you to listen to the feedback of your team? Some entrepreneurs are very closed off to.
How come it's important? Because I'm not the smartest person in the room. And, multiple minds, multiple aspects, different vantage points, viewpoints, experiences in life may share different ideas. And we've come up with, things that have been incorporated, implemented into our company based upon input from other people, right, within the company. And it's like, well, I never thought of that. That doesn't mean anything. That means, like, awesome. Now I've brought a new idea in. So I think that's the biggest thing for me, is just knowing together we all win, right? It's not just me. It's not just him or her or, one department. Like, if we don't all have buy-in and we're rowing the boat together, we're not going to get there very quick. But if we're all rowing together towards the same goal, we should get there a lot quicker.
And that's the funny thing, is not only you get there quicker, but you also improve the experience.
Yeah.
Because the front line is, what was the last, do you recall the last thing that one of your team members gave you feedback that you made a shift in the company culture?
One of these things in our inspector or services side of things was irrigation inspections.
Okay.
Sprinkler inspections. So, and even just, what's today? It's a Wednesday, I guess. So we had a team meeting on Tuesdays. Every Tuesday, we even did a round robin. Like, what are some of the value add services that let's just brainstorm it. Like, boom, we had 2 pages of notes from all of our team. But to answer your question, was the irrigation inspections, where, we were talking about, this was probably 6-8 months ago, I want to say. And two inspectors kind of paired up and started working on building out our template, nice. Doing some research, what it really incorporates, and then we bring it into our package of services or list of services. So I would say that's one of the things. The other, with the avocado, not necessarily the branding behind it, but how we actually use it and some of the things that we do with it. If you go to our Instagram page, you'll see there's lots of things around the avocado. We're working on a new system program of how we can incorporate that even more. Okay. And bringing automations into it to where, hey, our inspectors provide us with this really cool content with agent and client and avocado. how do we leverage what we get and add value to our agent and our client after that photo is taken? So we're always looking for ways to add value. And it's just, if you don't have the openness with your team, I don't think that you capture all of the opportunities.
Yeah, it's that's when I hear you talk about the culture, I'm not one bit surprised, just because you have a very growth mindset on we get better together.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Together we all win.
Absolutely. And it's the insight, it's the candor, because it's not always nice. That's the other thing I want to share. Like, let's talk about that, because sometimes, like, what's the hardest part for you in having difficult conversations? Or is that even a challenge for you?
I would say it's a big challenge for me.
Okay.
Especially if you ask my wife. So one of the things that I always continuously am aware of and try to work on is really understanding the roles and responsibilities of effective leaders, right? Leaders cause influence. Being a friend is part of creating relationships. But as a leader of a company, there are times where you have to have difficult conversations. Now, I also think as being a good leader, you have to identify your strengths and your weaknesses. So there are some things where you can develop and delegate some of these opportunities that may be a weakness for me or may not be something I enjoy doing. For example, having difficult conversations with past clients or agents on maybe a complaint, right? So the way that I approach that is, how am I growing my team and the people that are within the company to help take away those day-to-day responsibilities that either I'm not good at or I don't like doing, where there's another individual in our company that is much more suited to do those things. So I think identifying those really has helped me, I don't want to say avoid the difficult conversations, but to maximize the outcome from those potential difficult conversations.
You problem solved and found a more efficient path to get resolution.
Yeah, and like identifying who's good at what is, I don't know, maybe one of the most important things of leadership in an organization, because you can have the right people in the wrong seats, or you can have the wrong people in the wrong seats, or you can have the wrong people in the right seats.
Right.
It's just kind of how are we utilizing and maximizing our efforts?
How much time are you allocating every single week to working on your business instead of in the business right now? Is it ideal, or are you still, is it a work in progress? I would say
honest answer is no, it's not ideal, because I think as I continue to grow and as our business continues to grow and develop, there should be more time working on the business versus in the business.
Right.
Now, I do want to caveat that with a little bit of an essence of, I think you still need to be in the business. And I've chatted with a couple other home inspection owners that have grown out of doing home inspections. They started, whenever they started, grew, brought on inspectors, brought on departmental leads, have grown out of doing field inspections. And there sometimes can be a little bit of a disconnect where you're not really in the weeds with your clients. So you may not see everything, right? So I still do home inspections. I still enjoy doing home inspections, but I don't want to have to do home inspections. And that's where the transition and the progression of where, my development is, I want to choose to do 1 or 2 inspections a week, right? Just so that I'm boots on the ground, I'm still seeing what's going on. And I will say with any leader of an organization that, like, if I'm not willing to put on the suit and crawl underneath the house, but I'm telling you to do it, you may look at me funny. But if you see me do it, it's like, okay, we're going to lead by example.
Leader leads from the front?
Yeah, every time.
I really appreciate that about you. When I saw you doing home inspections, my respect for you as a leader significantly went up. How come you think it's important to be in the weeds? Like, what different perspective does it give you in running your business versus other entrepreneurs that are disconnected? What advantage does that give you?
I think really the biggest connection or the biggest advantage is the connection with your team.
Yeah.
Because I'm talking the same language. I'm experiencing the same things. When we're talking about, well, what are you going to do if you put your foot through the ceiling and you're in the attic? Well, I know what to do because I've done that, right? It's like I've been in those situations.
You did the Christmas vacation?
If you're a home inspector, I will say it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And we do try our best to have procedures and things in place, but things happen. But I think that's the biggest advantage is really being able to connect. And then also when we are rolling or developing and rolling out new things, it's like, well, I have some merit behind what I'm suggesting because I'm in the field. I've done it. I'm not just like, oh, this is a great idea. I think it's going to work for you guys. Like, well, if you've never done what we're doing, how do you know it's going to work?
Yeah. So you're also involved in the field testing of new things that you guys are implementing.
Yeah.
So you get to see it firsthand.
Yeah.
Do you like the customer interaction still? Like, do you enjoy that part of it?
Absolutely.
What do you enjoy about that?
I think really, it's multifaceted in my opinion. Like, I enjoy meeting people and learning about them, and just hearing the different stories that you come across when you meet new people. And I think that's one of the coolest things about the home inspection industry. Well, I wouldn't say industry, but the profession or the position is, any given day I'm going to meet someone that is famous, is up and coming from a brand new opportunity in their lives, is coming from a very hard place in their lives. All things can happen, and you never know someone until you meet them. And we're getting the opportunity to interact with them in a very crucial point in their lives, and a very emotional point in their lives. And usually what happens when you're in a heightened emotional state, it's sometimes easier to allow yourself to be genuine because it kind of pulls back some of the barriers. Like I'm at this house, it's going to be my future home, and my wife and kids are going to be enjoying it. Now I'm a little more comfortable and we can kind of connect a little bit more. So the connection to people and just hearing people's stories is what I enjoy the most about that customer interaction.
I see the smile. You really do enjoy it. No, it's just not aligned. It's not aligned.
It's fun. I mean, it's both, like I said, both sides. Like, I wouldn't say I enjoy when someone is going through a divorce and they're, scraping everything together and they're getting this house. But at the same time, I do enjoy the opportunity that I'm experiencing with them about, maybe talking about it, right? Like maybe, we connect and it's like, all right, well, I can talk them through something and be like, well, you're getting a really good house. I'm excited that, you've had this opportunity to come in, and here I can educate you a little bit and hopefully help you move your life in the right direction.
You really made me think about something, when you talk about the home inspection process. I work with a lot of first-time home buyers, and you're right. Like, I think that's one of the number one things when you talk about emotion. That's the number one concern is the home inspection.
Yeah.
Because they've never experienced it before.
Yeah.
So what are you doing to improve the experience that's different than your industry right now with regards to educating homeowners on the home inspection process?
Oh, great question. The list can go on and on because we're always looking for ways to enhance or improve our customer experience side of things. I will say one of the cool things that we're working on developing at the moment is a video series of the customer journey or the client journey, right? So there's multiple steps where we get involved or have interactions with you as a home buyer. The booking, the pre-inspection, the inspection, the post-inspection is kind of the baseline, right? So we're working on a way to build out a short video series for each step that's going to set expectations and hopefully educate before that part happens in that sequence, right? So like, what are some of the expectations that you should know about when you're buying your first home? What does the inspection include? What are the topics that are going to happen? Is there anything that I as a home buyer should bring as questions or concerns to my home inspector? So if we can set those expectations and educate you before you get there, maybe you're a little bit more prepared. And then by the time we leave, hopefully you're more comfortable.
Your agents got to love you.
I believe
when you do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because what you're doing is like, how much time are you creating for them by having an educational series?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
that's value add right there. You know,
in are we adding value? And again, we talked about this. I think we've said it a couple of times. Like the biggest thing that we talk about in our company is how are we adding value, and value doesn't just stop with the home buyer, right? If we're adding value there, we're in theory adding value to our real estate agent. We're adding value to the seller, the selling agent. Like you can focus in on one, but it just ripples out across multiple parties in our transaction.
And I think the amount of time it creates for you guys and the relationship equity is going to be exponential.
I would agree.
He's like, that's why I'm doing it, baby.
That's part of the reasons why we're doing it. Yeah. I mean, that's just one example of some.
How long have you been thinking about this? Like putting together that series?
The Journey series. Yeah. It's probably been, honestly, the idea happened about a year ago, I want to say.
Okay.
And part of some of the culture that we've created and that I enjoy a lot is, our team, our marketing department, our marketing director, Zach, and I, we brainstorm like every day. It seems like, right? So we have this new idea, this new idea. And sometimes things get kind of, I don't want to say lost, but they get talked about and then something new comes up. Or maybe we don't have the relationships that we need or the exposure that we need to know someone that can help us get what our idea is and get it done. Right?
Interesting.
So that's another aspect of things where as we evolve and as we grow and as we meet new people and we network and we see opportunities, it may give us the ability to complete some of our tasks or some of our goals and our projects and such.
So what finally clicked? You're like, we're going to get this done, because I will say you guys go through your script like it's meticulous. I see Zach. You're paying attention to detail. It's not just a one take and we just put it out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of standards that go along with it. So what finally said, hey, we got to get this done?
I would say it's part of just our relentless pursuit of improvement is really what I think kind of triggered it again. And you always, I don't know, things are in my mind kind of, I'll say seasonal, right? We go through these seasons or these ebbs and flows of we're like, let's be productive. Let's be freaking all over it. Let's get everything done. And then it kind of tapers off, right?
Right.
I would say probably every 90 days is the cycle, right? And that's why you have these quarterly meetings within organizations and stuff of that nature. So I think a partnership, one with Icon Studios, helped us understand we now know someone that can do what we want to do. They have the ability to edit, to put together our vision.
Nice.
And I think timing was just lined up too, where it landed with the opportunity and where we were at, really just aligned. I don't know if that answers the question.
It does. I think the one thing that that stands out to me about your organization is that you are so proactive on getting better every day. It's not just, you're not just throwing out empty words. It's an actual effort and being in the community. Danny, you guys are everywhere in the community.
You said one thing, you guys, we as a team are, and that's important to me, right? Because I can't be, and I'm not going to be everywhere.
Yeah.
But together we all win, right? It's
Seriously.
So we got all of these opportunities where every single person in our organization is just as important as the next person.
Amen.
And we try to make sure we all understand that, and because it's nothing but the truth.
How proud are you of how they represent your brand?
Very proud. Yeah, absolutely. Right? I mean, that's everything. I mean, because of them, we are who we are. It's not because of me. It's not because of this avocado. It's not because of whatever. It's because us together, that's our identity. And if you don't fit in that, then you need to find your happiness elsewhere.
That's okay.
And it is okay.
That's life.
And that's happened throughout time, right? Like in business ownership, if you have more than just you, and maybe even if it is just you might have to get rid of some people. And that's perfectly fine.
Who's your mentor when you were growing up?
My grandfather.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's the story behind a better home inspection? How did everything get started? Let's go. We got time.
So really, I mean, how it started was back in the late 80s. My grandparents were real estate agents.
Okay.
My grandmother was a real estate agent historically. She worked for Century 21 and was a very successful agent throughout her whole career. When they moved from the Midwest out here, they joined together and they were always very close, which was awesome and always very entrepreneurial. But they joined in real estate and they did enough to pay the bills and be somewhat successful. But my grandfather wasn't great at closing or signing deals.
Okay.
He was kind of let's go hang out, let's talk, let's do our stuff, let's have a good time. And my grandmother actually fired him from her team. So, like I said, if you're ever in business, you may have to fire yourself or someone close to you or an employee or someone. So he got fired. And
so the story begins with your grandfather getting fired.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. And he didn't know what he was going to do. He didn't have a job, right? Like here, this is back in the 80s. I'm the man of the house. I provide for the family. I mean, that whole dynamic and that mindset. So I was like, well, I got to go do something. And right around, the mid to late 80s, this home inspection idea was more or less just an idea. It really wasn't a thing. There really wasn't that many home inspections being done. No one really knew what it was. There was a big lawsuit that happened and kind of sparked a start of our industry. So with his history and his background of being a general contractor, he built over 500 homes in the Midwest as a licensed general contractor, subdivisions, he started the home inspection company. And that's kind of how it started. It was him looking for something to do and provide for the family, started a home inspection company. Now, I will say things have changed drastically since then and over the years because, at that point, I remember him telling me, yeah, we did home inspections and then I would go, bid out how much it would cost to go fix these things because I was handy and I, had a contractor's license and we just needed to make ends meet and, we wanted to make some money and we were offering a service and the first part of it was a home inspection. The second part of it was, now I told you what's wrong, let me fix it for you, which that's no longer, I would say, allowed. And we don't, by any means, we don't do any of that repair work behind ourselves. But that was back in the, the late 80s, early 90s where things were less
regulated.
Well, they're still not regulated, but they were looser in a sense.
Right.
And I also would maybe even argue, I hate to say it, but I think people were more honest.
How so?
I don't think people took advantage of people as much as potentially they do now. If you said if you said you were going to do something, usually you did it.
Yeah.
And that's not me living through that time per se, because I was young. I was 5 years old, right?
Yeah.
But just kind of reflecting on some of the stories and some of the people that I've met. I've heard, and this is personal stories of doing home inspections where in a senior community mobile home park where some lady or man is selling their home. We come do the inspection, we call out some things underneath the house, and, we come up and the seller's like, well, I paid someone to go down there and they were down there for a week and I heard them underneath there and they charged me $1,500 to repipe the whole house. And I'm like, well, they didn't do that because here's the pictures of what I just saw.
Wow.
And that's like, because, that's just terrible. Like,
right.
I wouldn't even fathom that in my own life. Or coming from someone that is representative of us, but I think there was less of that 25, 30 years ago.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I just think that it's fascinating to me where I think sometimes sales and manipulation are one and the same.
Yeah. We could go down probably a pretty large rabbit hole in that regards.
That's why I said it.
I mean, you look at like social media and all of these things, these quick grabs, like, hey, let me teach you how to make $10,000 in a week. Well, you got to buy my program.
Right.
Well, the program really doesn't teach you anything. But now I made $10,000 because I influenced, 1,000 people to buy this $500 program.
Right.
And what's the recourse?
Your reputation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're right. There's a lot of, and I think that's where I take it upon myself. Now I do my due diligence.
Yeah.
Do you have someone that I can talk to that's gone through the program that can actually attest to this? So I'll share with you, like you guys are the sponsors of the podcast, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
It's not, we didn't just go to any home inspection company. It was about reputation.
Yeah.
I went and looked at your reviews, 5 stars, all the agents that use you guys. It really vet your, I'm glad that you brought this up. We vet everyone.
And you should.
Absolutely.
Right?
Because
Like,
you represent
alignment.
our reputation too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it kind of ties into our vendor or a referral list. And we've always kind of had this idea that, and it's not an idea, we've always had this notion, we're going to get asked for referrals, right? Do you know, I just told you there's 10 problems in your house. Okay, well, do you know anyone who can fix them? Well, as we established just a little bit ago, we don't do the work behind ourselves, but we may have some recommendations. Well, excuse me. If we like you, know you, trust you enough to refer you, that takes a while first. But if you make a mistake or you mess up or you don't treat our clients right, you're off the list. It's not give me an excuse. It's one and done. Because the reputation that we have, we work extremely hard to get the opportunity to work with our clients. Period. Right? I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that happen to get to the relationship, to get us to the referral, to get us to actually do that home inspection. We can't throw that all away by some guy or some gal that doesn't have the same values and treats our clients terrible, like, or not even terrible, just not good.
Yeah.
Like, it's one and done.
Congrats on having standards, man. Like, seriously, like it matters,
It does.
and it all starts with you.
Yeah.
So you were talking about, you went to Mastermind.
We did. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I did last week, actually.
How was it?
It was fantastic.
Are you cool with talking about it? Like, is it a mastermind? Like, what kind of mastermind is it?
I mean, we'll chat about it for sure. I'm a firm believer that coaching is a huge aspect to success. I mean, you can look at, if you want to name off any famous athlete, pick one.
Kobe Bryant.
How to coach.
Yep.
Next.
Everyone.
Coach.
Every successful person has a coach. No brainer.
And like nowadays, like if you look at and you actually analyze it, it's not just, okay, well, maybe it's a sports head coach. It's a psychologist. It's a nutritionist. It's a motivational coach. It's a life coach. It's a da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I mean, we've kind of identified, and I think it's becoming more of a societal acceptance that it's okay to get help in regards of coaching.
Ooh.
Right?
Nice.
So I'm a firm believer in that. And yeah, I belong to a coaching community, a mastermind community where it is industry specific into the home inspection world and space, where I belong in a tight niche group of 12 to 15 home inspection companies. And we sit in a room for 3 days, once a quarter, and we literally go through my company for an hour to 2 hours at a time, talking about our challenges, our successes, opportunities, reviewing numbers, business development stuff. And we go around the room with everyone's company and we just talk through things and, the ideas and the problem solving that comes out of that is fantastic. Now, that's only once a quarter. We also have bi-weekly, hour to 2 hour long phone calls that technology has advanced over the last couple of years, right? And then you take the last 2 to 3 years, like it's a lot easier to see people and be on video conferences and stuff. So now it's all on Zoom, and it's like, I get to see you, and it really means that you're here versus a phone conference. So we just always talk about things, business related. So if you're not in a place where you have coaching, I don't think you're able to maximize anything you're doing.
How have you received an ROI in this mastermind?
Yeah, absolutely.
Significant?
I would say yes, absolutely. So, I pay over $10,000 a year to belong to
Let's go.
this coaching community. And that's just the coaching aspect of it. That's not necessarily, I travel, I have to get a hotel for 3 days, I have to eat for 3 days.
Right.
All those expenses that come along with it. But I've been involved with this community. It's going on 5 years. And 4 years really at the level that I'm at. The first before that was kind of they have different tiers, and we weren't all in.
Right.
And we finally made the decision to go all in on it, and we've seen 20+ % growth year over year since that.
Congratulations.
And I would say a lot of it is direct correlation to what we discussed, what I can bring back and share with our team back home.
You also did a cool thing when you went to this recently. What did you do?
Yeah, so this was the first time I actually invited our inspector manager, who Sam is our inspector manager. He's been the manager of that department for about a year and a half. And I invited him to come with me and experience what we do, because it's one thing to kind of have someone come back and say, oh yeah, I went to this conference mastermind thing and look at all this ideas and like da-da-da-da-da-da, and this is what we're doing and da-da-da-da-da. It's so much more different when you're in the room and you're experiencing it and you're feeling it and you see the emotional side of it and all that kind of stuff. So I was able to bring him. I asked him if he'd like to attend, and he graciously said yes. And nothing but positive feedback from both sides. And it's also opened my mind and my eyes to how that dynamic can even help me bring better stuff back, because now there's an opportunity to collaborate a little bit more. You've experienced what I'm trying to explain in maybe a different limelight. Maybe you had a different conversation at the bar after our day was over. You talked to someone else and you brought back a different idea that, again, I can't be in two places at once. So, more people equal more success when you're working towards the same goal.
Did you guys fly back?
We did.
Together?
We did.
Talk about that. What was there from you, right?
Well, honestly,
Like
so I've gone to these for 4 or 5 years now, so I kind of understand the emotional aspect of it, the drain, the immense, intense focus that happens. Sam has never experienced that before. So,
right.
I will say that the plane ride back was kind of quiet.
Really?
And it was, hey, I have a process of how I take my notes and how I unpack and how I organize my thoughts, and part of that is on the plane coming home, where I'm a much old school type. I write down all my notes and kind of put little key words and key things, and then I take that and I put it into a Word document, and then I kind of organize that in a certain way. And I usually take my time on the plane coming home to do that, and I still did that this time. And Sam was like, I kind of have a lot going on in my head, it's like drinking from the fire hose. Like I can't believe all the things that just happened over the last couple of days. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, no problem. That's exactly how I felt, probably even more so, because I didn't have someone walking me through or maybe setting a little bit of expectations before the day started or whatever, I hopefully helped him. And so the plane ride was kind of silent on that end. But what we decided was, let's take a couple days, review all of your notes, and my process, because I've already brought that back to them in the past, and let's set some time and just analyze and talk and just go over all of our stuff together.
What an incredible, I really have so much respect for you as a leader, that you're making an investment in your people, because this is ultimately not only enhancing their life, but it's also enhancing your life in your, holistically. It impacts everything.
Yeah. I don't know where I've seen it, but I know I've seen it somewhere where it's like, I don't want to use the word meme, but it's kind of like a phrase like, aren't you afraid that if you invest in your people to become better at leadership, that you'll lose them? And the flip side of that, well, what happens if you don't?
Don't.
Right? Like if I'm not investing in the people in the company in all aspects, not just leadership, but any aspect of the company, how does that make my company look? How does it make our company look?
Yeah.
And if you're doing things based out of fear, it's probably not the best. You're probably not going to get the best outcome. Like
Definitely not.
and
Who's the leader that you learned from? Was it your grandfather? Like
I would
fundamentals?
say, based on life,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. My grandfather. Yeah.
What was the biggest life lesson that stands out to you?
Biggest life lesson is you got to care about people.
Ooh.
I mean,
Fire.
Very simplistically said, but very complex in a sense. Like everything you do impacts something, and how you treat people is really the only thing that matters. And you can take that into your business, into your family, into your friends, into you just going out and being in the world. So, having a genuine care and doing the right. I mean, it's, I guess, the golden rule too, like doing the right thing, right?
Shocking.
Like it's not that hard of a concept, but we don't do it all the time. And
Right.
I'm not perfect. I'll be the first one to tell you, and I tell our agents and anyone, like, I'm not perfect. Our inspectors are not perfect. We're going to make mistakes, but what is the reason that we're doing things? Like, that's what matters. We got to have we have to be in alignment of why we want to do something. And if we do it because we care, it should be a good thing.
How do you lose?
You should.
You shouldn't.
Don't. Yeah.
Yeah. A better home inspection. Where are you taking the company? Like what's the next 5 years look like for you?
Great question. So really the answer, my first thought in that is it's not just where I'm taking the company.
Right.
Because that's not how I run the company. It's where are we taking the company as a team, right? And if we have the right people involved in the company, we're going to achieve massively, and we're going to impact our environment, our community tremendously. Like, that's where I want our company to get to, is maximum impact for our community. I mean, we can go through, what do we want? We want X number of inspections. We want X number of gross revenue. I want X number of profit. I want X. I mean, those are all target goals. But at the end of the day, if you do things right, those things are gonna take care of itself.
Yeah, I love what you said, because those are just the data points. Those are just the results.
Yeah.
Your bigger purpose is, how do we make a bigger impact in our community?
Yeah. Yeah, it was just last week I was sitting in a breakout session at our mastermind, and I think I've told you this before, but the idea of, I don't own and operate a home inspection company. We own and operate a marketing company that happens to do home inspections.
True.
Like that was a concept that was in my mind, right? Like, if you don't know about us, it doesn't matter what we do because you don't know about us. So we operate as a marketing company that happens to do home inspections. And by the way, we do really good home inspections and right? But the challenge that they kind of reframed it is, we don't necessarily run a company that does a service or marketing. We run a company that helps people. Right. And if we're focusing on, we want to do everything we can to help the people that we can, again, everything behind it should fall in line. Right.
Absolutely.
It means we're doing good marketing. It means we're doing good service providing of inspections. It means we're researching and educating people. We're adding value to any type of client that we want to service. I mean, so if we're in the business to actually help people, everything else is going to take care of itself.
It's just going to fall in line.
Yeah. So, so we have, year over year, 3-year target, 5-year plan goals of how many people can we help? And then obviously we're a business, not for I mean, we're a business for profit, so we have metrics and things that we want to target and work towards. And how do we add more value? Well, if we add more value, maybe that increases our average ticket, which increases, maximizes efficiency that affects our bottom line, all these types of things. But at the end of the day, we want to help as many people as we can in our local community.
And it's also implementation of those things, which you guys are great at from what I've seen. Like you guys are one of our biggest feedback resources. And it's amazing. Like we're all getting better.
Yeah. Together we all win again.
We all win.
Right?
It's like, shocking,
it's
right?
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. This is for all the entrepreneurs that are on there. What do you think is the most important tip that you would give to an entrepreneur that has owned their business for 5 years? These are difficult times. What would be the number one tip you would give someone that's struggling right now in their business?
The number one thing is have extreme clarity on why they do what they do. There's multiple different exercises you can go through to kind of discover your why, but until you really understand what that is for you,
right?
And it doesn't matter if you're a single man or single person business or you're 100-person business, it's going to reflect in everything, and you may get burned out. I mean, you may just decide to shut the door and go do something else, and that may not be the best path for you and your life's purpose. And it just could be just over the crest that, you crack that code. So understand why you are doing it, and why can be so many different things. It can be for, family, it can be for people, it can be for community, it can be for, I don't want to say it can be for I'm proving you wrong, but it definitely can be.
Whatever your motivation is.
Whatever motivates you, it is what it is. And in my opinion, as long as it's for something good, use it. But that would be my biggest thing, is understanding why you're doing it, and then also invest in growth of yourself, personal growth, personal development.
You always win in inflationary times when you invest in yourself. What's the biggest thing that you're working on improving as a leader yourself?
The biggest thing for me is having the clarity of what needs to be done by who, and having the understanding that it's okay to delegate. And also combined with that is I need to be more accepting of, I don't want to say failures, but mistakes.
Elaborate, please.
Yeah. I can't expect you to do everything the way that I want it done, because I'm not the one doing it. I have to be able to understand that if you're doing it with the purpose and with the goal and with your everything to get us closer to where we want to go as a company, you're making your best effort. And I can't critique or punish if it's not how I would have done it.
Right.
Because how am I going to be able to grow and help other people if I have to continue to do every little thing? So I think that's always a constant thing for me is, now you got to set ground. I mean, you got to lay the groundwork, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like you got to invest in your people. You got to develop it. You got to make sure everyone understands where we're going and how we want to get there. But then allowing the space and the freedom for you to make some of those decisions and coach as we go. I mean, one of the things, if you ask some of our leadership team, you come to me with a problem, I'm not going to solve your problem.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you, what would you do?
Yeah.
Well, that's why I'm coming to you. Like, I don't know what to do. Tell me at least one thing you do. Like, it's come to me with a solution. And that's a big thing that I have to continually remind myself. It's because I want to solve your problem. I mean, it's my baby too, right? Like,
Right.
I don't want something to fail, but I need you to think for yourself. Because if you don't, like, well, what if I'm not here? What if there's an opportunity that comes and you're not ready to make that decision? And then we miss that opportunity. So if I can't help you think, well, and then one step even further, like, what happens if you find an opportunity outside of our company and you pass it up? Like, I want my team to have the best life possible, period. Hopefully that's with our company. that's what we're working
Yeah.
towards. We want to create life memories, opportunities, all kinds of things. But in the event, if you are not with our company anymore by choice or not by choice, whatever it may be, I want you to be a better person and also have the opportunity to succeed anywhere. So it's funny. I tell people, like, no one's forcing you to be here. In anything, like
in life.
I've even told my wife, like, I'm not forcing you to be here.
How did that go?
I mean, it was kind of like,
I'm not forcing you to be here, honey.
but I mean, hear me out, right?
Sure.
Like, if you don't want to be here, I don't want you to be here.
Right.
Whether it be your wife, your employer, your employees, your friends, like whatever it is, like, it's not a forced thing. Now, I'm going to do everything in my power to help keep you wanting to be here. But if you don't want to be here, eventually something's going to happen. Something's going to break. So I tell that to my team all the time. Like, no one's forcing you to be here. This is what we have to offer. This is what we're going for. This is what we're working towards. This is how hopefully I can help make your lives better. But if you think there's opportunity elsewhere, by all means, let me help you get there.
Yeah. You know, when you have that type of confidence and culture and a team member doesn't see the value in that, maybe it isn't a good fit.
Maybe not.
And that's okay.
Yeah, it's totally okay.
Yeah.
One of my coaches explained to me, and I think I mentioned it earlier, but, I'm allowing, if you're getting rid of someone or you're terminating someone, you can look at it as like, I'm allowing you to find your happiness elsewhere. Like, obviously, if I'm not happy with you, you're probably not happy working for me or working with us, right?
Yeah.
There's probably some type of tension. So let me allow you to find your happiness elsewhere, because everyone deserves happiness in life.
True.
Period.
And Danny, you're not everyone's cup of tea. Nobody is, and that's okay, because I appreciate the fact that you embrace it. You're like, hey, this is what it is. We're not always the best fit for someone, and they're not always the best fit for us. There's no hard feelings. There's all the love, and if you learned something from us and you took it and made you better, it's a win.
Yeah, it's a win. Yeah.
Man, we could go all day long about this. So you talked about social media. I want to jump into branding for a second.
Okay.
What are your thoughts about how entrepreneurship is glorified? That it's a cakewalk, it's daisy. Do you enjoy? I don't know about you, but I work more than I ever have in my life as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, it's funny. Do I enjoy it? Absolutely.
Like, yeah.
Is it easy? No, not in the slightest. It's not easy at all. But I think with the social media things, what happens, like, people think you have to be successful and you have to have a certain threshold of success in order to make it, right? Like, I need to make $500,000 a year so that I can be flying around on my plane and I can take pictures and I can work from the Bahamas and da-da-da-da. And if I'm not that, I'm not successful.
Okay.
And that's bullshit.
So true.
Right? Like, all of these things that we see online, probably 1 out of 100,000 people, maybe more, are even, scratching that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Based on this program that you buy, right? Like, that's BS. Maybe you might be the diamond in the rough and you figure it out and I don't know. But the notion of entrepreneurship and success, and you have to take away from, having a good life, I think is nonsense. Like, you don't need to have 6-figure income or 7-figure income to enjoy life with your friends and your family. Like, you can do a small vacation or getaway for the weekend, especially living here in Southern California. We have all this opportunity for us to have really cool activities and fun things. Are we really thinking about it? Like, did we go out to, I don't know, say Joshua Tree and go for a day and go hiking? Ooh. Or did we go down to La Jolla and go visit with the seals or whatever? Did we go up to Big Bear and go snowboarding with take our kids to see snow for the first time? Did we go out to the desert? Like, you don't need to go to the Caribbean to to make it.
Right.
And that, like that, I think that's lost in a lot of people's interpretation of entrepreneurship and success. Like, I need to grind, and you need to forget everyone. Like, I'm not going to pick my head up until I make it. And now life passes us by.
And it's so funny how goals have changed, you know, for as we progress. Yeah. Now it's like I live to work. Well, okay. I love being an entrepreneur, and it's a commitment of time for me that I absolutely adore. But I also know, like, it can't engulf me because you burn out.
Well, I would agree. You burn out. I would also argue the more important thing is you lose time.
Yeah.
And time is never replaceable.
Ever.
And you never know when time is going to be taken from you, whether it be you personally, someone you love, someone's going to grow up. You know, you can never get time back with your kids.
True.
After they're grown. They're never going to be little kids again. You lose a loved one. You're never going to get more time with them. So I think now in life, you have cycles and you have seasons, right? Like when you're younger, I think you should invest maybe a little bit more time, right? To set your future up. You know, maybe you, instead of working 100 hours during this week, you're working 90, right? But you're still young, you're ambitious, you're going. But the goal is to get to where you have time. And I think that's one thing where entrepreneurs may not correlate to success. Like, it's just the money, right? It's like, I need more money. I need more money. I need more money. Well, I'm looking to get more time.
Nice.
Because time is money. You ever heard that, right?
Seriously.
I mean, it may not be zeros in my bank account, but if I have the choice and the freedom to spend time with my wife and kids, what's more important?
So I'm gonna summarize what you said. I think the best tip that I would give, your tip to an entrepreneur is that really understand your purpose.
Yeah, absolutely.
And understand your happiness and what happiness means to you. Absolutely. Then build your strategy around that.
Yeah, totally agree. Because what makes you happy may not make me happy.
Truth.
And that's cool.
Who's a couple of people that you want to thank who helped Danny be the very best version of himself every day? Who do you want to give a shout out?
It's a long list.
Go for it. It's a long show.
First and foremost is, my mom, my grandparents, instilling family values and the entrepreneurial spirit, and just really allowing me to grow into the person that I have become. And that's more on the personal side, and the business side, definitely. But, there's several coaches in the IGO community that I can definitely do some shout outs to. John Tyler, who owns a home inspection company in Phoenix, Checklist Inspections. Jerry Lincoln, who owns a home inspection company in Columbus, Ohio, Lincoln Inspections. Dan Deist, who owns a company in Maryland and Top to Bottom Services. Blaze and his wife Christine, who own a home inspection company in Long Island, New York. So spread out across. These are coaches that I've had the opportunity to sit under and with in my development there. I would also really like to shout out my current staff and team. I think without them having the understanding and the ability to allow me to grow into the position that I've grown into and developed into, and still continuously learning. I mean, I'm nowhere near perfect by any means.
Right.
I'm not, and I don't know that I ever will be, but transitioning from a partnership ownership to a solo owner, and then having that growth through there and having them trust and give feedback too, so I want to give a huge shout out to them. My wife is another big shout out. Absolutely. We've been married since 2022. So, we haven't been married long enough. Yeah. We got a lot longer to go. We got a long time to go that we're still going to be married, but we've known each other for a long time, and she is way smarter at I would say probably everything than me. So she really helps me just understand some things, look at things at a different perspective. Also in the encouragement side too. It's like, without having someone in your corner, like close to home, it does make it a lot harder. Not that it can't be done, but when you have that help at home, it's an amazing feeling. So
congratulations, man. Like, I didn't know you were married in 2022. It's a short period of time. Yeah. And you're happy.
Absolutely.
Keep the happiness rolling. So I want to give you a shout out. You're actually one of the most positive influencers in my life. Oh, cool. One of the best connections. I really, really appreciate your mind. I appreciate your values, how people driven you are.
Oh, thank you.
Seriously.
Thank you.
So thank you for joining us. Danny Forster, he will be back. They're regulars. We love them. We appreciate them. And if you want to know how come we appreciate them, is because of the type of people that they are. So, Danny, thank you so much. And you'll be back.
I appreciate you having us on. It was the best podcast I've ever been a part of.
Is it the only podcast you've ever been on?
So far. No, but it has been great. You've been great. This whole experience is great. I mean, the studio is great. Everything's great. So thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, man.